Hi, Facebook land. So it's DL here, and I have another episode for you of Deep Important Stuff. Camera. And in the last episode, or not the last episode, but episode 4, I talked about, or maybe it was 5. Anyway, I was talking about inquiring into our concepts of God and how important that is in order to empower ourselves with all the best things that this concept of God has to offer. And I had a comment from a Facebook friend, and it got me thinking a little bit. I'm going to share some of that with you because I think some of what she said is really important. But first, I just wanted to clarify that it's not any better to have a benevolent, sweet, perfect, all good, all the time God than it is to have a vindictive, punishing, authoritative God. You know, neither one of those is balanced. And so when I was talking about developing or inquiring into and discovering, you know, the beliefs that you have around this concept of God and who that is or what power that is for you, we can't really exclude one side or the other. God is either all things, okay, and all things have to be included in that, or God is not as powerful as we imagine, right? It has to be everything. And nothing can be outside of him. And I'm saying him as, you know, for lack of better way to describe these things. So have I said what I wanted to say there? Yeah. So this person who I'm talking about, she, it was Linda who I asked if I could share some of these things, and she said yes. So she said she was answering the question in response to, you know, her concept of God and how she sees God as goodness, love, beauty, joy, and abundance. And my response to that was, do you still believe that when bad things happen to you? Or, you know, when your situation is uncomfortable, or when you see things in the world that make you uncomfortable, do you still believe those things about God? And, you know, it's just a question. It's not that I have an answer or that I'm, you know, pointing to anything that she might be missing. It's just a question to inquire. And, you know, the thing is that yeah, when our world is in crisis right now, and it's really easy to point the finger or want to blame this power, this source that some of us believe in, or, you know, even if we say we don't believe in, there's you know, I really believe there's something in our DNA that that connects us to this source. Deeply, we know that there's this source there. And while we don't always know how to define it or understand it or how to relate to it, it is something that we are all, whether consciously or unconsciously, searching for. It's meaning, basically, to put it simply. And so I wanted to share this quote from the Mahabharata where Arjuna and Krishna are talking on the battlefield. And our Arjuna is begging Krishna to help him prepare for this battle. And there's a point where Krishna says, you must learn to see with the same eyes the man, the dog, and the man who eats the dog. And I'm not gonna say much about that. Just think about what that might mean. Because it is related to what I'm saying here, which is that our concept of God has to be big enough to include all aspects of life. The things that we're comfortable with the things that we're uncomfortable with, the things that seem horrible, and the things that are beautiful and abundant and lovely. And that's a really tall order. But if we exclude any of it, then we're putting limitations on God. And right away, how can that be? You know? So anyway, Linda's response to me I thought was really beautiful. She says, it's my responsibility to align with the frequencies that she's talking about. I quiet my mind, no stories, and breathe, and feel any stuck emotions in my body that are usually brought up by awareness and are blocking the frequency, so I can tune into the source within me. This usually takes a lot of focus and attention, and I have to do this often. I then can go into a state of acceptance with the unknown, which I think is beautiful, because that's what God is. God is the unknown. We can never know the entirety of it. I'm not in control of what is occurring in our world, only my responses to it. So I really wanted to share that, kind of clear up what I was referring to in the other video in terms of cleaning up our concept of God. And, you know, for some of us who have an authoritative, punishing concept of God, then yeah, we do need to balance it out with a more benevolent, loving concept. But if we have a really airy, fairy, all good all the time concept of God, then we might need to balance out that concept with a little more earthiness and groundedness and acceptance of the fact that life has a lot of different qualities to it that aren't always fun. Okay, so that's all I wanted to say. Thanks for listening if you were here, and I appreciate you, and I'll be back again. Bye-bye.